Hello, everybody, and welcome to Writer Inspired Show. I'm talking today, and I'm really excited about talking to Jane Conway. Hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
As I say, I like to go straight into this. So, if you can, we've talked a little bit off air, and we'll talk a bit about marketing in a minute. But I'd just like you to sort of introduce yourself, sort of what books you've got out, just the names, and what they're about for us, please.
Okay, my the first book I wrote was A Faithful Servant and a Runaway Preacher, and it was two Bible characters. I didn't have a good experience with the company that I went through,
Okay.
and so then I joined another place and SPS, and I wrote Declare His Glory, which they wanted me to write a new one first. And Declare His Glory was about my life as a missionary up to, well, getting started, my life until we were getting ready to go to the mission field to Papua New Guinea. And it's simple, just the facts of how we did it. I'd had other in my life as a missionary, I've had many young people ask me, how do you get started? And so that's what that was all about. And then I rewrote the first one, called it Joseph and Jonah, and corrected a lot of mistakes that I'd done in the first one.
Okay.
And so that one, Declare His Glory, and then Joseph and Jonah are both on Amazon. And then for a long time, I have been wanting to write books for children, Bible stories, and this sort of thing. And then I got started on this series of the Bible story coloring book. And so the kids would have, the book would be really specially theirs. And it's the Birth of Christ series. There's 6 books in the series, and I got 2 published, and I'm working on number 3. The first one is Zacharias, the man who lost his voice. And there's detail in there about how he got it back. Well, not yet. I mean, he lost his voice there. He gets it back in book 3. And then that was book 1. Book 2 is Mary, and the mother of Jesus, and it's Mary, the and her heavenly visitor. And so that episode. And then the third one is John, the son of the man who lost his voice. And in that, it tells when he gets it back. That one's coming. And then that's 3. The fourth one is the birth of Christ. And then the 5th one will be the wise men when they come. The shepherds will be in the birth of Christ, and the wise men will be in a book by themselves. And then the last one will be on Joseph, the adopted father of Jesus. And so I'm excited about writing them. I never pictured myself to be an author until I was in the Champions Club with Vic Johnson. And he said, you need to have goals. Well, I dreamed about being a nurse. I dreamed about being a missionary, and I'm both. And I was asking the Lord, what next? And so while I was preparing some lessons for my ladies group in Mexico, the Lord said, put it in a book. Well, actually what I put, that started Joseph and Jonah. And actually what that did was it got me going on being an author. I just never really thought it, but I love it. Absolutely love writing. Now, I just hope somebody reads them.
It's like one of the things with being an author and writing, it does take time to build up. So obviously you want to help. Marketing is your big sort of challenge. We'll go through that now. But to say, what sort of things have you done up to this point to sort of like launch your books and to market it?
Well, I have a mailing list from my supporting churches. We're independent Baptist missionaries, and as that, our support is faith based. There's no guarantee about how much comes in. Like some missionaries do have a salary, we don't. And so I send out, I keep it publicized with them who I'm doing it. I put it on Facebook. I'm in this step doing this book, and I've got this one online. I'm working on book 3, just whatever. And it's very limited to the the people that I have in my following, I guess you would say.
So you have a mailing list. Do you have who do you have it with? The mailing list.
MailChimp.
So is it quite a big amount, or so you'll message them when it's the book's out, do you, or how do you go about it?
Well, there's about 200 on my mailing list right now. Mostly those are the ones, like I said, that give support or that want to keep track of what I'm doing in the mission work. And with everything that's been going on in 2020 and some of the things that are going on now, um, writing seems to be the ministry because there's so much being in Mexico. They've closed churches this year on Sundays, but we haven't closed. Nobody's come specifically and told us, but then we have a small gathering anyway, so they may not be worried. I don't know.
That's fair enough to say. So you've got 200 on your list. You've got a social media thing. Is this when you sort of like release it? This is you go right, okay, guys, it's out. Is that what you say?
I'm sorry, I missed that. So,
Right. When you with your mailing list. So when your book's out and released, you message them and say my book's out, ready to
right.
buy. Or how do you go about it? And also the other thing is, so what else have you done on top of that? Because obviously I can go back to this and I'll give you some advice on what I would do. Because obviously your mailing list, and is it so, first question I actually ask is, do you enjoy using your mailing list? Is that something that you like to do? Do you like to sort of message them every so often, or how often do you like messaging them?
Well, I usually send it out once a month. Sometimes it comes to be a little bit closer than that, depending on when I've said it, when the book comes out. Uh, but I like the mailing list, but I don't want to limit it to that.
Okay, so you enjoyed it. That's good. Once a month, that's fine as well. What sort of things do you ask? Do you sort of like say, my book's out, or what sort of things you put in there? What's coming up, what you're doing, what sort of things you put in that mailing list?
Well, basically, I say my it's due to come out. If it's now on the first book, 2 books, I did a book launch, um, which I don't know that I did it right, but anyway, it was ahead of time. This is when it's coming out. Now that I've been doing it, I've been telling the book came out, the one in December, and then the in the children's coloring books, and then the other one uh, in January. So I'm just putting them in there in the news, in my newsletter or prayer letter, as I call it, um, to the churches and to the families who support us. And so just so that they know what's going on and asking their prayer about it all. And of course, giving them the link to buy it if they want.
And let's say, so you do that with your social media. Is there one specific platform that you prefer, or do you like to do several? So, for example, is it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? What one is best for you?
Well, Facebook is what I'm using now. I'm in another group now too to try to familiarize myself with Instagram, and I'm not familiar with it.
My advice to you, if I'm honest, is to limit what you do, because there is always this shiny light syndrome where you've got this new shiny thing that you can go for, and people are going on Instagram, people are going over here and there and everywhere. I would personally limit it to Facebook if you join it and you got comfortable that you know what you're doing, and then I would look at your mailing list. Obviously you've been with SBS, so I'm going to assume a few things, but I will ask some questions on this. So you know what advanced reader team is, didn't you? You know what a sort of street team, as it's called.
Yeah, it's the launch team. Yeah. I didn't do that. Not being in SPS right now, I was kind of at a loss how to do it because usually the people that I got into it were members of SPS.
Yeah. As I say, I'm not advertising with them because I'm an ex-SBS member. So, you know, an ex-student, if you were. So, you know, I know what it is, but you can sort of just rejoin that mastermind. Obviously, you know, there's a fee involved, and that's just down to you whether you feel comfortable with that. And say, I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But as I say, there's an opportunity there as well. So if you start to help other people and get to know them, you'll be able to have people that will help you on your journey with it as well. Because one of the big things as well is when you first launch, and I say I don't want to give you too much information, but when you first launch, you've got about 30 days on Amazon where they will see if your book's doing well, and if it is, then they'll help you market your book to the people that it feels that would want to buy your book. Does that make sense? So if it's
Okay.
getting sales, that it will help. It will send emails to people. Well, obviously we don't get those emails. Data protection says we can't anyway, but you know, Amazon wouldn't do that anyway. So there is an opportunity. They love new releases, so there's an opportunity there to do it. So there's a couple of questions I want to ask from this. Have you how many categories have you set up for your books?
How many countries?
Categories.
Huh?
Categories. Where you sort of like, oh, I want my book in. I don't know. I'm just using examples here, but child's. I don't know. There's loads of different categories. Children's workbooks, for example.
Okay.
What sort of categories you got it in? Have you got it in 10? Because you can choose two when you set it up. You can choose another.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Um, yeah, I somehow I would put it under religious, and then I've got it under children's books. These now, yeah.
Okay. You need 8 more. So there's two really good things. It's these totally free. There's 2 really good things you can do to improve your visibility of your book. You know, I can't guarantee sales, but it will increase your visibility. One of them is to have 10 categories, right?
Okay.
Another, sorry, you
Go
can
ahead.
ask a question.
No, no.
One of them is to have 10 categories, and the other one is to have the 7 right keywords. So when you
Yes.
go onto your KDP dashboard, you probably know this anyway, but when you go into KDP dashboard, you've got 7 keywords that you can choose, and it says optional, but it gives you a big boost. Have you done that with your books?
Yes. I've got the categories. In fact, with this last book, the um not the categories, the not the those words you're talking about, the
7 keywords, yeah.
yes, the keywords. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with all the terminology yet. But anyway, he they seem to come easier. The more I've done it, the more the idiots have come up with us, and then they say don't use what's in the title or in your description. And so that was making it hard for me to begin with. But anyway, I noticed it with this last book that I put up there. It was a little bit easier. Now I haven't got those extra categories because I get confused on what I'm supposed to do and how
Okay.
to get them.
Okay, I'll try and make this as simple as possible for you, because I understand. Because I say when I first started doing it, it was just like, oh my god, my brain is about to explode. I can't do this. So what I'll give you a link. It's BK Links, I think it's called. It's totally free, but I shall give you the link to it, which help you. BKlinks.com. Um, be careful, because if you do it, it'll go Burger King to start off with. It's not that one. It's BK Links, and what you can do is if you know other authors in your genre, you can get ideas and you can look at the categories that they've got, you know, and I'm not suggesting to copy them, but get some ideas of how they do it and probably get a lot more. So you've got 4 or 5 different categories, you know, 4 or 5 different authors. You can get some ideas of what sort of categories they're in, which will be able to help you. And that's what I would probably suggest that you do. And I'm trying to make it simple as possible. Do you have KDP Rocket?
I do, but again, I get confused with. I've got KDP Rocket, but it's been a while since I've looked at it.
Again, it is, but you know, there's support there with them. You know, David Cheeson is. I'll probably said his name wrong, but I think he's an amazing bloke, really, really helpful. So if you have any questions, they'll be able to talk you through it. But that's another place where you can look for free, well, look for your categories and your keywords that will help you. So then you request it. You go onto the KDP dashboard, email, and then put it in. Now, BK Links has it gives a breakdown on the actual thing of what categories they are. All you need to do is just copy those categories. So say Kindle stores, whatever, and it'll give arrows. So you just sort of, I'm not suggesting to copy that every single category, but to get ideas from other people. But how it's laid out is how you copy that to go onto it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So then you've got your 10 there. Now, I don't want to make it even more difficult, but you can have other categories in other countries. So you've got 10 categories in the US. You can have 10 categories in the UK, 10 categories in Germany, 10 categories in Canada, 10 categories, etc. So if you wanted to, and say this is time consuming, but what you feel you can do, it will give you a bit of a boost. But I've noticed a lot of authors don't do categories in other countries. Does that make sense? And what helps?
When I put it on categories in the US, it doesn't go to other countries. I've got a list of them and saying that I want it to go to all, but do I have specifically to make the categories in the other countries?
What we have to do, when you email KDP, you ask specifically for the US one, and then when you do the other ones, you ask specifically for the UK one, specifically for etc. And Germany, this is the best. To be honest with you, France is improving quite considerably, Spain's improving quite considerably, and Italy as well, and all English speaking. So there was an opportunity there, perhaps for you to sort of like increase your, thing. But again, what you feel comfortable with. I don't want to give you I've got 10 million jobs to do. If it's just the US one you want to focus on time being and get your book up, then honestly go with that. And you'll find a lot of other authors haven't got categories in other countries either. So it will be down to KDP Rocket to help you with those other categories. But for me, I would recommend mostly just focus on the US, and then later on, when you start seeing some sales and things improving, then perhaps look into that. So you get an understanding by doing it on the US first. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Establish one and then go to the other.
I want to wait to go. Oh my God! I want to do this. Because I say it's quite overwhelming to start off with, if I'm honest. So those are two things. They'll bring your visibility up quite considerably. So people will be wanting to buy your book in that category. So they'll be looking around because they want the next new book that they're going to buy, and they'll see yours. And if your book then it's going to help you. If they put the keywords in and it's in the first sort of like 5 or 10 pages, they're going to buy your, people are going to go, oh, I'll buy that book. I've seen that one before. And it appeals to them. The cover, the blurb appeals to them. Again, these are the other things that we need to go through. So are you comfortable with the blurb? Are you comfortable with the cover? Are you happy with what it is? Do you think it's strong enough to say, I don't know, but I just ask these questions, how you personally feel your book cover and your blurb is?
The book cover?
Yeah. Do you think it's good?
I like them myself, yes.
Fair enough. And you've had feedback on that, on your book cover?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you're happy with the cover, not a problem. Blurb, do you understand what I mean by blurb?
No, I don't.
It's basically, that's fine, not a problem at all. It's just basically your copy. So when somebody clicks onto your Amazon page, you've got a sort of like selling point is probably not the best word to describe it, but just basically saying this is what the book's about. And
yes, the description.
So, yeah, a bit of what's about to get people to I quite like this. I might buy it. So that's what it's got on there. So are you comfortable with that too? I'm sure that you've gone through this with SBS, but I just want to check this.
I've got it written. I don't know how good it is.
Okay. Again, this is all of the stuff that I'm going to give you today are just invitations, and you choose what you feel comfortable with and what you want to do. But I invite you to ask others. If you're in some writing groups and if you're in some children's writing groups as well, I would encourage you to sort of ask what their opinion is of it, and take the overall consensus, and also go with your gut. Ask God what his opinion on it as well, because for me it's what you feel you're most comfortable with, because when I've done it in the past, sometimes it can be really great feedback, and other times they are comparing their book, their blurbs in a different category, yeah, and they're giving you feedback on the category that they're doing. Does that make sense? On the genre that they're doing. So they're
Yes.
going, this should be that, and you're going, right, okay, but that won't appeal to the people that are trying to buy your book if it's from a different genre.
Okay.
Am I?
Yeah, if they're comparing it to theirs rather than what mine's going to. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So you just got to see what you feel most comfortable with and what your gut tells you as well. Because sometimes I've had that feedback and I've gone, I take that, I take that. I'm not taking that because I don't feel, for me personally, that's right. And at the end of the day, you've got hand on heart and just, know that you're doing your best, and that's the best you can do, because you'll get loads of different feedback and it will come be conflicting, or like that, I don't like that, and it's just what you feel best with. So that's what I do recommend you do, because it might give you some pointers from people that go, oh, actually, that's a really good point. I might add that to it. But again, these are all things that will help you, because what I'm trying to help you do is get the visibility of your book up. So the categories will help, the keywords will help. You've done them already, so the categories will get it up there. And then when they click on your page, they're going, oh, I like this, and then they're going to buy it. So it actually optimizes your selling page, your buy my page. Amazon do a great job themselves, and it just adds that extra sort of like bit of value to it as well, and increase your thing. And this is all free stuff. And then obviously what I wanted to go in a little while, I'll start talking about other ways of improving your your advertising and stuff like that. And not all of it has to be paid. And one thing I want to talk about as well, and I just want to sort of prepare you and sort of like for it, on Facebook. And again, I'll go through a little bit of detail, but I have got in our group, the Successful Writers Club, I've got some information on how to set your profile up on Facebook, so that if people want to stalk you, which people do, they'll go, oh, what's Jane doing? I like what she's saying. I like what she got. And click on click on your profile page and have a look at you and start going, I quite like this. And then you've got something there that's going to go and click it, and then they're going to join it. You're not going buy my stuff, you're encouraging them to do it. And one thing, again, I'm gonna ask a few more questions in a second, but sort of really important that I'll try and get across to people. A lot of authors think you've got to make a sale, got to make a sale today, got to make a sale today. But what you don't realize is we are firing in a tiny pinprick to get those sales. The first 1 to 3%. So when somebody comes to look at your book, you only get 1 to 3% that are looking to buy. What you want to look at is the medium size and the large size. So people that in the future may be interested, and the 40% that are going to, once they get to know you, are going to buy your book. That's what you want to get to, and that by having a really strong mailing list, and by having good sort of like rapport and communication, the right word, but a good sort of like an audience that sort of knows who you are, likes, knows, and trusts you, you'll find that actually that'll improve things as well. And when each time you launch your book, you're going to be in a position where you're going to make more sales. You're going to make more sales, and you're going to get things moving. And advertising doesn't have to be about spending a lot of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes good sense.
A lot to take in.
That was also the thing that holds me back, was because I don't have a lot of money to deal with.
But this is the thing for me as well. I'm launching my romance book. So my romance book is coming out in April, maybe pushed to May. I've planned, it's quite simple. I spent, my book cover was my birthday money.
Yes.
So I've not spent any money on it, and I don't intend to either. I'm going to get an editor, and I will help them, and they'll help me, and that's how I'm going to do it. And also, I'm going to not spend any money on the word's gone now, but formatter. I'm not going to spend any money on formatting. I'm going to do that myself, and I've got a few things I can do. The book covers all there, all done, dusted. So that's going to be free, and I'm going to spend my time now going into groups that have children's books or whatever it is on Facebook, and there is loads. Again, this is all part of the profile thing that I was going to talk to you about in a second, and start talking to people that are in your genre, getting to know them, building a rapport with them. And then obviously there's readers there that like your stuff. Children's books are difficult, I'll be honest with you. There's I think her name's Yvonne Jones, and apologies if I got her name wrong, but it's with children's books are a little bit different. They don't have emails. They don't. They're not on social media so much, are they? I know it's obviously the parents that buy it and stuff like that, but they'll just buy the book and that's it. They don't really sort of like look at the long term thing. So it's a little bit more difficult to build up that rapport and build it up. And obviously you've got, you've got other books, but I'm guessing this is where you want to build your sales up. Is that correct?
Right. That's correct.
So what I'll do is I'll send. So there's two things I want to do after this. Is send the BK link to you, and I'd also like to send you the link to Yvonne Jones, and I apologize if I got her name wrong, but she used to be at SBS as well. She's doing really quite well with her books now, or children's books, and she has a book on how to publish and advertising a children's book. So she's more of an expert than I am, and she has been on quite a few sort of like shows and stuff, podcasts and stuff. So she knows her stuff, and I've got a lot of time for her as well. She kind of sort of like a couple of years before I was part of SBS, she was there as well. So she's done really well for herself. But again, that's something that I will send a link to. You can decide to buy it or not. It's entirely up to you. If you want to have a quick read of the bits, you're more than welcome to.
Very good.
Yeah. Is there any questions you'd like to ask me about it? I don't want to, when we go to the next stage, I don't want to confuse you too much about what we've talked about so far.
Well, you mentioned joining groups, and actually, I was recommended to join groups. That's how I found you.
Okay.
And but then I had joined like 2 or 3 or 4 groups. I don't even remember how, and keeping them straight as to what said what and what you're permitted to do. That was a bit of a problem with me. But I mean, I did get a message back from you that I wasn't doing something right. And anyway, but then I appreciated the fact that I wasn't kicked out of the group. And but anyway, I hadn't thought about searching actually for children's books on Facebook. That was a key thing. I've been going to Christian books, homeschoolers, and this sort of thing, but most of them don't want you selling to them. At least the ones I found locally. So, but anyway, it helps, and I just got to keep looking. It's what it amounts to.
So on the again, in my group there is a Facebook thing, and again I'll find the link for that to help you with it. But what you do when you go into these groups, and I know obviously it is quite difficult because some groups can be sort of like, right, you've made a mistake once, that's it, you've gone, but sometimes you need to learn. But as I say, others have got a different view, and it's getting it right. I would just go in there and just say hello, get to know people, answer questions, stuff like that. And if you've got your profile set up so that they go, just for example, so what I've done with mine, and again, this could be sort of, I could give you about an hour's worth of training on this, but and we haven't got time for that. But what I've got is I've set my profile up. So when somebody goes and looks on who I am, and I'm in another group, and all I want to do is build a relationship. That's all I'm going into there. I'm not trying to sell. I'm just trying to build a relationship with them. And they will go, right, okay, who's this Jane person? Click on your profile, and you've got, free book or free quiz, which is something is really, really good. A lot of people go, oh, your lead magnet, which is, something that get people onto your email list, has to be a novella. It has to be a book. It doesn't. A quiz, which is what I'm going to be doing with my romance thing, which is I'm starting to do. They're going to click that. They're going to have the quiz, and bang, they're on the email list. Yeah, they've just joined you. They've voluntarily gone to your profile. You've not told them to do that. They've done it. So that's another good way of doing it. So rather than say, buy my stuff, you're just being in there building a relationship. That's going to be a few things that are going to help you do it. Pinterest's really good as well. Have you got a website out of interest?
With Pinterest, I think I do. I've not been into it much. It's again, I get really confused with one and then the other, and I haven't done much with it. But I think I joined it, but I had some problems getting back into it. I think that was either that one or Instagram. Like I said, I'm kind of confused. I'm not real up on a lot of the of these things online. I was around a long time before internet showed up. So.
I just say I can relate to it myself. I'm a huge technophobe, and it's just taken me a while to get used to getting through it. So I totally relate to that. But as I say, again, what you feel comfortable with, and I would really start to focus on Facebook, and then once things start to be successful and you are starting to move forward with things, then I would look at going towards perhaps Pinterest, etc. Because Pinterest is really good at bringing people into your website. What is the key thing for me is you're funneling your audience into your world, and you need to hold those
Okay.
people. Does that make sense? So it'll be, for me, I'm funneling people into my MailChimp, and then once a week, you don't have to do this. You do once a month, which is fine. You're talking to them, what's going on with your books, how you're getting on, perhaps try and get some engagement, get people to talk to you, build out relationship. What I do as well, and again, this is quite a bit of information, but I have an automated service with my MailChimp account. So when they join me, you'll get an email straight off the bat going, hello, this is me. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to try and do to help you, and then ask them a few questions. Now, depending on, you've got the free part or the expensive, expensive, it is expensive, but it's worth it, to be fair. Depending on what one you've got, you can have just one email sent to them, or you can have as many as you want. It's entirely up to you. But again, you don't need to do loads. You can probably just do one or two, and that's what they go on. So whoever joins you, you do it once and it's done. And you can see how they go, and that people
Okay.
responding.
So you're saying going through MailChimp, I can um, set up an automatic response if somebody joins it. And it's a quiz. What is the quiz? What do you do to make the quiz? That's intrigues me.
Yeah, okay. With the quiz, there's, and apologies, I have to, again, I have to send you another link on that. But
Okay.
got Google Sheets you can do quizzes for, and it just sort of like, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do a lot of research before I actually launch this for this romance to get people on board. But it could be sort of like what sort of like lover you are, or this is just for romance. You don't want to do it with children's books, but sort of like what sort of character are you, all that sort of stuff. So just Google it, have a look at see what other people have done, and get some examples and get some inspiration, and then do it. But Google Sheets, you can do it on there, and just put the link, and then they can just go through it. But again, there's some got YouTube videos that do demonstrations, and for me that works the best because you're actually experiencing it as you're doing it. So you can go, right, okay, you're on this page, right, fine, yeah, and then what do I do next? What do I do next? So I think that'll be a recommendation as well for you to go through. Go and have a look some on YouTube, find some ones that do. But quizzes for me are really, really good. They take 10 times less than writing a book, getting it edited, paying all for that just to get somebody on your email list. So quizzes are really pretty good, but also you can differentiate between them. But I don't want, again, this is making it a bit more complicated, but long term, you can actually set it up so that they can get tagged. So if they go, actually, my favorite, just an example, my favorite character is this person, you can tag them and they all can go on a different journey to the one that preferred that character. Does that make sense? So you can so the emails can be different depending on and they get put in a different pot as well. So when you go
Okay.
to advertise your book and whatever, just an example, it could be something completely different, but you can take people on a journey, and you can sort of like advertise, or to say the book is ready, to one set of group of people. So long term, this is, say, I'm going to give you sort of a long term thing. I've got an email mastery course, and I'll talk about this. But there's a gentleman called Mark Dawson, and what he has, and it's absolutely amazing. If I'm honest, he writes thrillers. I don't know whether you heard of him, but he writes thrillers, and he has 300 people on his advanced reader team, right? And they are experts in the field. He's got coppers, he's got loads of stuff. So any information that he gets wrong, they'll tell him and they'll pick it up for it. So, for example, about a year ago, he was talking about what was it? He was buying. He said that his character locked the gun, ready to take the safety off, and they went, no, that gun doesn't have a safety. So little bits of detail like that, and they'll pick up all that type of stuff and they'll give it back to him. And then within 12 hours of the book going 99 cents, yeah, he then puts a price up. because they'll review it. They'll review it, give them information, then they'll buy the book when I said for 12 hours, and then they'll review it for him. So that's the level that what you want to get to, if I'm honest, and that's sort of like the long-term aim. But all it is for me, and this is what the advertising side of things is going on, and I'm going to talk in a minute a bit about blogging and stuff as well to perhaps help you. But it's follow people in, get people into your world, build up that email list. You're not going to see a massive increase in people buying your book until you start hitting like 2, 3, 4, 5,000 email subscribers, which is quite a hard thing to say, but I want to give you the total honest truth. That really what it is. You might be lucky with some people. For example, Chris Fox, who's a very well-known author, he's a 6-figure author. He has like 5,500 people on his email list, but they are excellent people, and he's taken time to build it up. Yeah, and then obviously people that are not being engaged, that don't want to be part of his world, that's fine. But he's got 5,500 people that do buy his book, and when that book's out, that's it. He's loading it. But that's an exception rather than reality. But something you could go towards yourself, to be fair. But that's what you need to focus on. That's what, if I was you, I'd have a social media. I'll be putting out inspiring quotes. I'll be having a link. And this is the thing. Yeah, so stuff with children's stuff. So just find out. And again, I'm going to give you another link, but it's what's it called? I think it's called Ask the Audience, but I can send the links to you, and it will give you questions that you can ask. And if you've got a Facebook profile, you can send that, put that out, and people will respond to it. And then if you've got your profile set up, people are going to look into what you're doing. Have you got a business page on Facebook?
I have a business page with not with my author. I don't have an author page on Facebook. Is that what you're talking about?
Something, perhaps, again, an invitation. You can do this because there's a lot of information that I've given you tonight. But have that, and then again, you can reproposition your posts. So you can do a post on Facebook. I recommend doing a couple of days if you can, but what you feel comfortable with. If you've not got time for that, then do what you can, and then repurpose that one onto your business page. And the business page, you can have other things on there, so you can have links to your website and stuff like that. So it is a lot less because Facebook want you to pay for the privilege of to your followers that are on there. It's like 90% reduction, but it is an opportunity there as well. If people resonate with what you're doing and you're doing it consistently, you'll start to find that Facebook will, people will respond to it, and then they'll, click the link, etc. So this is what I want to do. Just spend time building, getting those people into your email list, those people into email list, and then building that relationship. That's the simplest way, really, I can help you with that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Scott, I'd like to get in there. How are you feeling? I hope you're not feeling frazzled.
Well, there's a lot to do, and I never dreamed at my age that I would be working out and just doing this much stuff. It's a lot to learn, and I am a grandma, so
Well, congratulations.
And yeah, 4 times over.
Wow.
My middle son is the only one married, but anyway, I most people think my oldest son is my husband. I said no, he's my son. Anyway, but I tease him and say that I just look young. He doesn't look old.
You look older, and I look younger. Yeah, work it out. Yeah. So,
But
sorry, you got any questions from this?
I really don't know. You've given me a lot. I've taken a few notes here. But I think it's been very helpful. I really appreciate it.
Is there any, you're welcome to say, this is what I want to do, some of the stuff that I've learned over the last 2 or 3 years, I wish I'd known when I started off. And the biggest thing that I want to try and sort of get across to you as well, and this is just from what I've learned, it's not, the reason why you're not making sales, not because your book's rubbish, it's not because you're no good at what you're doing. There's a really simple point for me, is there's a tipping point. And you've got to build your audience to that tipping point. Does that make sense? So the hardest part, and there's a Ashley Emma. She recently talked about a year ago. She talked about this. But the hardest part is $1,000. Once you hit that $1,000 a month and you get over that, then you'll start to see things. Go. It's like climbing up Mount Everest to get there. But once you get there, then you can sort of like skate down a bit more, and it might help you a bit. But that's the key thing. So it's keep going with it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is blogs. Now, I've talked to you a little bit about Facebook and all that type of stuff, right? And then having things set up. But if you reach out to people that have blogs that are, pretty well known in your genre, and encourage and ask if you can write for them or whatever you feel you're comfortable with, then you can have the link to your email thing there, so people read who you are and then they join your list. Does that make sense? So again, all this is free stuff. There's options there. I found that most people, I used to do anxiety, and there wasn't that's changed now, but when I was doing it sort of 3 or 4 years ago, there wasn't the bloggers out there that did it. There wasn't the podcasts out there that did it. So as a result, that kind of held me back, if I'm honest. But there must be now, and I've not looked into your genre to be fair either, so I might be wrong, but there must be people out there that blog, that you've got a good following, and then you can sort of grow it that way. And the last thing, long term, and I'm going to say this: have you tried BookFunnel?
I just joined it recently, last week or so. Yeah, I haven't got into it good yet.
There's 2 options with BookFunnel, and again, I'm not an affiliate, but I think they're really good. They have a sale one, and they have a normal one, where you're building your email list, and then obviously you're just pooling all of those resources together, so everybody's email list, and then sort of building it. There's a lot of more advanced stuff that I can sort of talk you through in the future about what you can do to grow your email list, what places to go, because there's some really absolutely great places to go. There's one that I've recently learned about, which is really, really, really popular. Some of the top authors go for it. I'm not sure if it's got children's stuff in it, but it's certainly got a lot of the other genres in there. But again, there's expense involved and stuff as well. And that's really, you need to get to that point where you're earning some money from this, so that you can then put the expenses back in. But that's what I want to try and do. And when you get to a point, this is just my advice, when you get to this point where you're starting to earn a decent some money from it, I would personally then reinvest that. Looking at Facebook ads, again, you can do a quiz, or you can do a free book, and you can get people to join your email list. You don't have to spend much money a month to do that, and just start to grow it. So each week or each month you're bringing more people into your world, more people.
Okay, yeah. Increase that publicity. You get myself out there.
Yeah, exactly. And be prepared. Facebook Lives, whatever you feel. And again, I'm just giving you invitations. This is not you should do this, because you've got to feel what's most comfortable for you. And
Right.
and if you're not comfortable with some of the stuff that I've spoken about, then just don't do it. And again, this is another bit of advice that I've learned. Right, you've got a lot of courses, you've got a lot of authors, all that sort of stuff, will say this is the way forward, this is the way you should do it. The truth be told, right, you have to learn what works best for you, and you take little pieces of each other person, and you go, this is what I want, and actually I'll add this little bit to it as well. So my own, how I will do my routines, how I do stuff, has to work best for you, because I don't know about you, I want to explore myself. I want to learn myself about stuff as well. I say this may not be how you feel, but that's how I like to do. And again, this is an invitation. Pinterest is really, really good to grow your email list in the future as well. So again, something to look at in the future. I wouldn't recommend doing it now. And then if you've got a website, then
the website I have is our mission website.
You can actually use Pinterest to bring people onto your website, and then you could got that's the thing, just growing that organic, growing it. So the main places, social media, as well as I do, Facebook, change like that. So 1 minute, oh great, this is really good, I'm getting a lot of people responding to me, and then they change the algorithms. with
Yeah,
an email,
that does confuse me.
and with an email list, it's yours. That's it. You've got
Oh,
you dictate what goes on. It's yours. And very, very rarely do they change the goalposts, apart from sometimes, but most of the time they don't. And even then, it's still yours. It's still yours to control and do what you want and grow it.
I like that. I like that thought.
And so the last thing I want to touch on as well with book funnel, which we talked about a minute ago, is when you are getting to the point with your website where you're getting people in, right? You're exclusive, aren't you? Your ebook is exclusive to Amazon at the moment. Is
At the
that correct?
moment, yes, but I've got my own. What do they call it? The numbers. Um, anyway, I can put my books other places. I forgot what it's called.
So,
The ISBN number. It's not just for except for the ebooks, but then that is Amazon,
yeah,
a Kindle. But
yeah.
the print books, I do have my own number for
So
that very reason, because I want to go other places.
fair enough. So long term, you can perhaps pull out of Kindle Unlimited and actually then set your book up onto your own website. So somebody can go onto your website through BookFunnel and pay 97% royalties for your book.
You go to BookFunnel from a website.
With BookFunnel, you go into BookFunnel, you can set up your book as long as you're not exclusive to Amazon, because obviously if you do this and you're exclusive, you're breaking the T's and C's of Amazon.
Right. Yeah.
If you're what are they called wide, then you can actually, through BookFunnel, you can set your ebook up onto your website, and you get direct payments, and you can choose which one it is, whether it's PayHip, PayPal, whatever it is, and you get that money as soon as they get that book downloaded. So rather than waiting, you can get it straight away. But this is what I mean about bringing people into your world. If you start doing that, you'll start to see. But again, you don't get that organic reach either. So with Amazon, they'll buy the book and they'll put the book up higher, and somebody else might buy it too, and somebody else might buy it because that book's higher up the rankings. So there is that swings and roundabouts. But long term, this is what they reckon authors it's going to go. That's the sort of the future of the authors, is your own website and people buy it. But again, then you get control as well, because you can charge what you want. That's the thing. You can charge. And again, this is just to inspire to go, okay, this is a really good idea. If you've got a book that you've got not exclusive, and it's set up and it's quite simple on BookFunnel as well, you can go, right, okay, exclusive to my readers, I've got this book for 99p or 99 cents. You get it. Nobody else gets it for this price, but you'll get it because you're exclusive to my thing for 99 cents, and you'll get 97% royalties.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The last thing I want to really to go through is paid sites, and obviously this is again an invitation, and it's also about money. So there is some really good paid sites out there. So you've got if your book goes free, which is if you're in Kindle Unlimited and exclusive for Amazon, then you can go free for up to 5 days each 30-day cycle. I might be incorrect on that, so apologies if I got that wrong. But no, I think it's longer than that. No, I think it's 90 days. So for 5 days, you can have free for each cycle, and you can then use free Booksy, which is about $80. Again, this is money, but the bang for buck for that is quite good, because what happens is you will push your book quite high, and if you can do well and get sort of a top 300 on Amazon for free, then you'll start to see people get your page reads about 2 weeks later, because Amazon will then advertise your book to Kindle Unlimited readers because the book's doing well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not real sure.
See, I'm giving you too much information. It's quite overwhelming, so I apologize for that. Is it? Just going back a little bit. Is there any challenges that you think you face with the stuff that I've talked about before? Is there anything particularly you think actually that's a really good idea?
the good ideas I like about the way you talked about the email list being mine, and it doesn't change because it's what I'm doing. Um, but I have, I guess, trying to learn the stuff to do it, like the categories and this sort of thing, has been my problem. Um, but actually, I'll be glad to watch this again so I can absorb more of it.
What I'll do then is, and I'll send you the link once we're finished, and it comes up and it says it's processed. I shall send the link straight away so you can go through it and get some understanding. But one thing I really do recommend, if you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me. But what I do recommend is sort of like, MailChimp's really, really good with the information they've got available to them. If you go on the website, if you get to go into your MailChimp account and click in what you need to know, automated service, it will give you a breakdown of how to do it.
Okay, yeah.
If it means one tab you've got how to do it, the other tab you actually do it, set aside time to do it, and be kind and understanding to yourself, because it's not just the actual fact that you're doing it, it's the understanding of what you're doing, which I always find challenging for myself. It's not actually the fact of typing it in, right, okay, I need to do this. What am I actually doing? What does the effect that has? How does that work? Does that make sense? That's what I
Yes.
have to get around in my head.
That's my problem. If I don't understand it, I'm not doing it.
Because it just doesn't. I can't comprehend what I'm trying to do. So they break it down quite simply. But you're more than welcome to ask me, reach out if you want to.
Okay, I will. I appreciate that.
And I'll give you, say, I'll have to remember them. I might have to read back them myself, because I think I've given about 5 or 6 links I'm going to send you. But again, these are all of this I've talked about now is an invitation. Feel what you feel is best for you, and do what you want. And if you don't feel some of it's important to you, then don't do it. And don't feel obliged that, oh, Chris has said, so I better do it, because this is not about me. This is the most important thing I've given you. Is it's like a taste of what it is. This is about helping you. And if I'm giving you information that's going to make you go, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too much. You're not going to do anything. And that'll be the worst fear for me. Does that make sense? So even like you take one thing from this and that helping you run with it, then I'm going to be happy, rather than going, I've got 15 million jobs to do, and you end up doing none of them because it's just too overwhelming.
That's where I'm at before I talk with you. And I really appreciate the fact that, you know, the attitude. This is basically what we tell people in our counseling, in our ministry, when they come and ask us for advice. We show them scripturally what to do, and we show them, but it's your decision. You've got to make your own decision. You don't do it because I tell you to. And you're doing the same thing we do. So I appreciate that.
Not intentionally, to be fair, but yeah, you're welcome. It's important that the most important thing in this journey as an author is that you love what you're doing, and it isn't a case of sort of like, I love it because I'm earning loads of money. I'm writing a book at the moment. I said I'll talk about romance. It's gone on a bit of a tangent to what I thought it would be, and I said, oh, I won't do this, I won't do that, but I've put it in there. But I'm loving it. I don't care if it doesn't make any money whatsoever. I don't care. I don't care what people think of it. Always he's made a bit racy. Always done this, done that. I don't care. This is for me. This is my book. And if it doesn't sell, it doesn't matter, because I've loved the process and I've enjoyed learning and experimenting and exploring and doing it. And that's the most important thing that I'll try and encourage you as well. Love the process. Enjoy it, because I'm going to learn about MailChimp today. Go do that instead. And then once you start learning and loving what you're doing, you'll actually find that success comes a lot quicker, and what you term success as well, because it might not mean I want to earn £1 million or $1 million. It could mean actually that I want to help 200,000 people with what I'm doing. I want to help people actually understand and have a better life because of what I've written. That could be. It doesn't matter what success is. It comes a lot quicker. And I've found that, I used to give myself targets and goals. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And actually that made it harder for me to achieve them, because I made my happiness the target rather than what I'm actually doing. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does. It does. It makes sense. Um, I I had something in my mind to say, and I lost it there, but that's okay. Yeah, I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I love writing these books. Like I said, I started at age 55, I think it was. Has it been that? No, it couldn't. No, 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 no. That's wrong. 65. Because my husband passed away when I was 55. and and so it was 65 because it hadn't been 21 years since I've been doing okay, or 20. Um, anyway, 65. And you know, I just totally think it's amazing. I'm 71. And
Okay.
that, yeah, that's what I tell my son. And anyway, it's totally amazing to me that I'm doing what I'm doing right now at this time of my life, but it's fun. And to me, the marketing was not fun.
No.
So I pushed it off to the side. And as a result, like you said, it didn't get done. So now I'm in MailChimp and I use that for my newsletters. So I'm going to make sure that I've set up, I like the quiz idea, set up that thing. So I've really got something to work with. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Is there any more questions you'd like to ask me? Because say I felt like I've talked quite a bit. Is there any question you'd like to ask me?
No, I think we covered a lot. I've just got to take it all in.
Yeah, that's just fine to say. Off air, you're more than welcome to message me if you've got any questions.
Okay.
Again, I'm gonna have to try and find that profile about Facebook as well. That again, it's entirely up to you if you want to take it or not. I'm not. And again, if you change your profile, and again, I've done that information in there. But if you change your profile and you start doing that, you start to find that people will ask to be your friend and actually start to attract the people that you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When I
Sort of. I'm not really into a lot of things on Facebook. I did have a Facebook page that was supposed to be a business page, but it was supposed to be my Spanish version of Declare His Glory. I've got a Declare His Glory group, and I like groups better than I do the page because when it's a business, there's so much of the privacy that everything is kept private for who's looking into it.
yeah.
And that was hard for me. I want to know who's looking.
Say, well, I can understand that. Worst case scenario, you can set up a group and you've got that control. Put it private. No one can join it unless you accept them. So that's.
Well, I've got my group is open, and because I want, well, I'm putting devotionals on my Declare His Glory page. It started out as a launch group for my first book that I did with SPS, and then when it launched and it was over with, I just changed the theory behind it, just bringing praise to the Lord. And I'm putting in devotionals. I try to get a devotional out at least 6 days a week, but my oldest son is in dialysis, so it's not making it. And so, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm enjoying writing in that too. So any way I can write, and I've given away more books than I've sold. And which, if to me it's a ministry anyway right now. And if they can get something that will help them spiritually, in their daily life, physically, that's what I'm all for. So I would like to make a little bit of money at it eventually.
Again, making money out of it shouldn't be something you feel bad about, because if you do make money, then it means that you can invest more and you can reach out to more people. And that's
Exactly.
so that.
Exactly.
Is there anything you'd like else to add before we finish?
No, I think that's it.
All right,
I'm great.
thank you very much. I've enjoyed this, and I really hope that I've helped you a little bit on the journey. As I say, I really enjoyed it. But so thank you very much for your time today, Jane. And as I say, I shall
Thank you,
speak to you.
Christopher.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm just gonna.